hao. I'm very pleased to meet you, and I'm very honored to speak at Cephalocon, the first Cephalocon ever, about the work that we have been working on for the last 1.5 to 2 months. I work at SUSE for the team that works on a project called openATTIC, and recently we've been involved in what is called the Manager Dashboard V2. The reason why I have my laptop here is that I'm actually going to challenge the demo gods, and we'll try to do a live demo of the dashboard to give you an example of what we have been achieving so far. I would like to start with a little bit of history, where we're coming from. The standalone project openATTIC that we work for was founded 7 years ago by now in a small company called IT Novum, based in Germany. And in the beginning, it focused on managing what we call local or traditional storage. So it was an application with a web interface that you install on top of a Linux system to manage local storages like LVM, Samba, NFS shares, and so on. In 2014, we started adding support for Ceph, since we experienced that many customers were simply outgrowing the storage requirements that a single node system can provide. And by looking around for open source alternatives for a distributed storage system, well, the team stumbled over Ceph and added some initial support for it. When I joined the team in 2015, we made some changes to that. Initially, openATTIC was a community version and an enterprise version, and the Ceph support initially was just part of the enterprise version. That's something that we've changed and made it fully open source. At around maybe half a year later, we learned that SUSE is looking for a way of creating an administration over interface for their Ceph-based product, SUSE Enterprise Storage. And we started with a development collaboration in which the openATTIC team, together with the SUSE engineers, was working on adding more features to openATTIC to make it into a more powerful Ceph management tool. In that very same year, I think more changes happened, and the openATTIC team, as well as the project, joined SUSE. So we're now part of SUSE since then, still working on the same project. In 2017, just a year ago, we made a very drastic change in the sense that we decided to focus on Ceph in openATTIC only, and that's when version 3.0 or 3x, the following versions, were developed, in which we really removed the traditional local storage management part and just worked on the Ceph management features. And we also started making use of several other external components to make it more powerful and more easy to use, primarily Prometheus and Grafana for the monitoring and visualization, and the Salt-based Deep Sea project for some management functions like creating NFS shares or SCSI functionality. But this is about the dashboard. Back in the Ceph Luminous release, we also had, or the Ceph project added a first implementation of a web UI themselves, which is the dashboard. It's a web application that runs inside of the Ceph manager. And well, as the name applies, it's primarily a dashboard that gives you an insight and a read-only view into certain aspects of your Ceph cluster. So you can take a look at, let's see, your overall status, your nodes, and so on. It was by intention made very simple to begin with in order to get people attracted to it and start receiving contributions. So it has a Python backend and a JavaScript web UI. It was very easy to extend. And in fact, after the initial Luminous release, several other new contributions have been submitted in the meanwhile that gives you more detailed insight into the dashboard or into your Ceph cluster. Unfortunately, or however, the original dashboard has a few limitations, primarily that it's a read-only thing only, so it wasn't really intended for adding management functionality that allows you to make changes to it, just adding new objects, making changes, performing administrative tasks. It was more just a view into your Ceph cluster so you can take a look at what's going on. Since it's read-only, there was no need for an authentication system, and in general, the overall architecture, especially the JavaScript library that was used for the web interface, didn't provide much features to create feature-rich management functionality. But also, there were several discussions going on that the Ceph project itself had a strong interest in adding their own web-based management interface. There were several discussions on the mailing list. There was a Ceph Developer Monthly call in which this was discussed, which ended up with a kind of a wish list on this Etherpad. And this is the time at which we started getting engaged, and we had some issue discussions, especially with Sage and John Spray about this, where we were offering our help. And we basically were using or proposing that based on the experiences that we've made by creating openATTIC, we would go ahead and create a new and advanced dashboard that would be part of Ceph going forward. And then we started creating a prototype to begin with, just and to give an example of what would be possible. So the initial prototype that we did was basically taking the existing dashboard and just converting it from the Rivets.js-based version into Angular, which is a much more powerful web-based framework, and leaving everything else in place, but just to showcase what would be possible. But further on in these discussions, we actually proposed that we would be very interested simply kind of taking what we have already achieved in openATTIC and migrating the functionality and features into the dashboard and kind of donating the work going forward. So in the long run, we expect that the standalone version of openATTIC will kind of disappear, no longer be developed, but the focus will be extending and enhancing the dashboard. And yeah, about 1.5 months ago, we started that work. The merge request was merged at the beginning of this month after some long-going discussions. And this is really what we call the milestone 1. So as a first step, we wanted to make sure that we provide all the functionality that the original dashboard in the master tree was able to provide. So we intentionally did not want to kind of put in additional management features to begin with to simplify the review process and to kind of have a stake in the ground, so to say, making it even possible to continue going forward and adding more features on top of that. So this is what we now call the dashboard v2. With merging that pull request, we now basically have replaced the original existing dashboard, providing all the functionality that was available in the master branch at this point. The backend is still based on a shared Pi-based architecture. We've been reusing quite a lot of the code from the original dashboard, but somewhat reworked it and changed the way in how new RESTful functions can be added. But the web interface itself is basically completely new. As I said, it's based on Angular using Bootstrap framework. But we've taken a lot of inspiration and tried to derive as much code as we could from the standalone version of openATTIC. So if you're familiar with the openATTIC web interface, the dashboard v2 will be somewhat familiar to you from the look and feel and the widgets that we use here. We also, as a first step, added some very basic authentication system. You can define one user and a password that will be stored in the one configuration database that protects the web interface from someone not supposed to be using it. Let's see. And with that, I will try to run a live demo of the dashboard to give you an impression of that. If that fails, I have a screencast that we can resort back to. Give me just a second to switch screens. It's going to be challenging. The resolution isn't that great, but let's see how far we come. This is basically the login screen, and well, pretty common. You ask for the username and password that you would first have defined during the installation of the dashboard. You can of course change it later on, and in the future going forward, we of course plan to have a more full-fledged user management system, and in particular also being able to connect to external authentication systems like maybe an LDAP server or whatever is around there. But this is further down the road. Right now, as I said, we have reached the point to become with parity with features of the dashboard V1 plus a few additional things. I'm going to click the key we logged in, which makes sure that when I open the page in my browser at a later point, it will not ask me again since I have already authenticated. Okay, so this is the start, the dashboard that you probably are somewhat familiar with if you have ever seen the original dashboard. We try to keep close to the original, with the exception that the layout is somewhat different, and we made some minor enhancements and improvements to the existing UI. For example, you can go over with your mouse here to see the utilization. And this is just a local B-Stat cluster running on my laptop, so this is by no means representative when it comes to the sizes or the amounts of OSDs that you can see here. But I hope it gives you an impression of how this dashboard looks like. The dashboard updates itself live as soon as there are changes to your cluster. Further down here, you can also see the logs of the cluster. So if there's any event that is displaying a change, you will see it here. You can also switch to the audit log to get an impression of what's going on over here. And one thing I can try, for example, is to let's see if I can move this over. Smaller. So one thing I can do is just start one of or stop one of the processes in my Ceph cluster. I think that's one of the mons. And after a short time, the dashboard should also display the change in health. Until this has happened, let me show you something else. Oh, there we go. Now the monitors are not all in a healthy state. You get a warning here, and you can take a look at the monitor screen to get an impression of which of the ones is currently misbehaving. You have a widget here that shows how many open sessions this mon currently is handling, some additional background information. Let me restart it so it's like that. And that too will automatically update the table, and you will see that your cluster is healthy again. Going back to the dashboard, for me, you can also go to your OSD page. I know with just 3 OSDs in here, this is not that exciting, but the table that you see here has a way of pagination itself, so if I just have a huge number of OSDs, I can limit the amount that is being shown here, and I can then page through each of them. Also, what's very helpful is that I can immediately search the page for any object that is in here. For example, I can search for all OSDs that are up. Oh, I cannot because I need to define this. Well, one way of doing it would be able to sort them here. And I think I need to look it up, but we have a way of filtering the table by a column, which you can say just display all the OSDs that are up or that are out. But I could first search for the host name in here. That's the live demo. Might be a bug. Anyway, this table is basically a generic table that we use for all the data that you can display in your cluster. So let's go back from here. You also have a list of hosts. And since this is all running on just one host, it's not that very exciting. But as you can see on this particular host, we have a number of services running, starting from the mons. And if I click on the mons, I get all the performance counters that are available for that particular one. Let's go back. Or for an OSD, of course, it's the same thing. And here, if I'm just interested in the blue store related topics, I just filter for them. And if it's a bit more, well, here's my entire table. So very easy to find the information that you're looking for. At this point, this is just displaying all this information, but going forward, of course, we would like to add management functionality that will make it possible for you to make changes to your cluster. So we have seen this. One recent addition was in the dashboard V1 was the configuration documentation, which basically is a reference of all the various the configuration options that your Ceph cluster has. You can limit the amount of being displayed here by a service. So if you're just interested in the OSD options on the basic level, this would be these ones. If you want to see the advanced, you get some more. Again, this is just a read-only display of it, but it's already quite helpful, I think, to browse the available configuration options to see the descriptions, what their default values are. So I think it might be helpful if you're having to make changes in the command line or just want to have a quick look at the mechanism. Block is basically everything related to RBDs, RBD mirroring, which is not configured on my device, but I hope you can get an impression how this looks like. You would have the RBD mirroring daemons, which pools are related, and the RBDs, which are currently in transit, be listed here and over there. So in a live cluster, this is likely more exciting to look at. The other is the iSCSI part, which is based on the TCMU runner implementation. Again, here at this point, you will see a read-only view of your iSCSI targets and some performance characteristics. And then you have pools. If any pool that is tagged as an RBD pool would be listed here. We just have one here at the moment, and I created 2 images to begin with. And this is the first screen in which I added some functionality that will be kind of in addition to what the original dashboard already provides. This feature hasn't been officially merged yet, it's still in the pull request state, but I added it to this demo just to give you an impression. So if you want to create a new RBD image through the UI, you now have a way of doing it right over here. You can give it a name. We also support adding RBDs that are split across 2 pools, where you have a dedicated data pool. For example, if you want to use an erasure coded pool for that, you would be able to selecting it here. I don't have an EC pool configured here, so I'm not going to do this. And then, of course, well, let's give it a size. Let's create a 3 gig one, and we can process of 4K. And by default, it's just using the RBD features that are defined on the cluster-wide level, but I can, of course, go down and make my own custom RBD with custom flags if I want to. And as you can see here, we have a capability of adding help options to each of these with a quick explanation of what this is all about. And also the entire web interface can be translated in other languages. So we've already built up the infrastructure that allows people in other languages or other countries to add their own localizations to this. And we are working with the PO editor to give you a way of using a website to translate the strings and then submit them to us as pull requests. So hopefully, since the team that is working on this primarily speaks English, Portuguese, and German, we hopefully will soon get contributions for other languages as well. Okay, let's stick with the default features. Let's create the image and now it's there. So that's an easy way, if you don't want to look up the command line options for creating RBDs, of doing this through a web UI. ZFS file systems can also be looked at this point. see there's a performance graph down here that shows some performance characteristics. You see which pools are involved. So again, mostly using the same table implementation that we show everywhere else. And we also have a way for displaying some information about configured Rados gateway nodes. Again, showing some detailed information about the host they're running on, memory utilization, and the same performance counters that you could also query through the other list that we have. We have a pull request in the pipeline that will add more Rados gateway management capabilities, allowing you to create new users and keys and buckets and see which ones are available, including support for quotas and all the various bells and whistles that the Rados gateway admin ops API gives you. Another pull request that we're currently working on is the possibility to create Ceph pools through the web UI, allowing you to choose the erasure code profiles and various other options. But that is not something I've merged into this demo yet. Yeah, so this is the current state. We have, as I said, quite a number of pull requests that are pending. Work is still ongoing. We hope to be near the functionality, or hopefully on par with the functionality of the standalone version of openATTIC at some point. Likely not by the time the initial Mimic release will be cut, but the team is working on this almost exclusively at the moment, so we will see how far we can come. With that, I'm going to switch back to my presentation. Just in case I created a few screenshots, but fortunately the demo goals were kind of me this time. Okay, next steps. So as I said, RBD management, you just seen it. The first step is creating RBDs. That's going to be merged pretty soon. But of course, you also want to be able to delete and modify those, so that's next. Rados gateway management is nearing completion, so that's in the pipeline. D2 for pools. We also need to add SSL support, so since we are asking for a username and password, and you are now able to make changes to your cluster, it might be a good idea to protect the communication between your web browser and the manager. And one thing that we're still missing from openATTIC is the option to embed more detailed graphical statistics using Grafana. That's something that we've created for openATTIC that we would also like to include in the dashboard V2, so you have a way of getting much more performance characteristics and metrics through the combination of Prometheus and Grafana. And iSCSI target management and NFS Ganesha, something we would like to be able to also port over. The challenge here is that these two features are currently bound on the salt-based DeepC project that we're using, which is kind of our sister project. And that is kind of limiting because we cannot expect that everyone is using Salt and DeepC to manage their cluster. So these are ongoing discussions on how to resolve this and which would be easy first steps. If you want to take a look at what's going on, we have created a label dashboard for pull requests. If you filter for that label, you can very easily follow our ongoing work and discussions. In general, if you're interested, as usual, get involved, feedback patches and so on. Give it a try if you're familiar with building Ceph from source and running a vStat cluster. This is like the best way of getting started at the moment. But as soon as the Mimic release is out, I expect that we will hopefully get much more feedback and discussions about the current state and where to go forward with this. So with this, I am open for questions, feedback and suggestions.
Hi, I have questions about what's the relationship between the openATTIC and the Ceph dashboard in future. Do we plan to move all the features in openATTIC to Ceph dashboard?
Yes. As far as it is possible, as I said, there are two features in openATTIC, which is management of NFS shares with Ganesha and the iSCSI target management, which depend on Salt and DeepC for the orchestration in the background. So this would be somewhat exclusive if we would be just porting this feature as is, because then you can only use these features if you use Salt to manage your Ceph cluster, which is something we can't assume and expect. So these two features are likely not going to end up in the dashboard as a verbatim copy, I would say. We also, we of course would like to add this functionality, but there are more discussions needed on how to actually resolve this and implement this, because simply there are so many different orchestration and management tools that you need to use to make the changes in the background happening, because you need to really run commands on a node to make changes to it, to, let's say, add a new iSCSI target or add a new NFS share. So there's some instrumentation involved, and that is somewhat specific to your environment. So there is not an easy way to have a generic approach to that, if that makes sense. But apart from that, anything else, yes. As I said, in the long run, we really anticipate that the development of the standalone version of openATTIC will come to a halt in favor of the dashboard, because it is a replacement for it. And simply because the dashboard ships with Ceph by default, so there's really no need for an external application.
Will the openATTIC be abandoned in future when the Ceph dashboard become the
Abandoned is such a rough word. Right now we're working on both, but we are not intending to add any new features to openATTIC in favor of rather adding them to the dashboard instead.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
I want to know, this current work is only support SUSE Linux, or you support any other Linux flavors like Ubuntu or CentOS or Red Hat?
So one of the big benefits of moving the standalone version of an openATTIC to the Ceph master repository is that, yes, it will support all the various distributions. And that's another reason why the decision with Salt and DeepC and not being able to move this forward is a bit difficult, because, well, we do support Linux distributions outside of SUSE, but not on the same level because of lack of resources. But the dashboard v2, as shipped with Ceph, will support all available distributions. That's the intention.
Okay, the documentation is, and if I want to test other flavors, I can go with you, and if you...
Sure.
Okay. And other questions, I'm very curious, and do you do any comparison with the other console and tools like Calamaris and Postman in the Ceph side?
So, as part of our previous work on openATTIC, we of course evaluated and looked at all the other tools that are out there, and we're not trying to mimic or kind of duplicate the exact functionality, but we are rather trying to approach this from, okay, what is the most useful feature? What do administrators have a keen interest in? But sure, if there's something in Calamari that you're missing, submit a request for adding this as a feature. And if it's not on our radar screen yet, we can certainly look into adding it at some point. We do have still a very long list of additional features that we want to add, but as I said, we have now reached our first milestone, and based on the work that we've done already, we are now trying to merge as much of that and port it over to the dashboard before we start completely new work. But we are already seeing contributions and pull requests from people outside of the team at SUSE that started this work, so hopefully people will show more interest and start contributing additional features if they are missing something.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I have about 1 more minute to go, so maybe a last question. Feedback. Crickets. Okay. If there's nothing else, thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.